Okay, guys, give me just a second. I will be right back. So, I can show you guys some videos. I'm lining up our videos. I'm just going to try to get into the chat here so I can see you guys' questions as well. Put this over here. All right, guys. So, let me pull up here. All right. What's up? So, I want to talk about Muhammad Ali and Floyd Mayweather. Now, these are two of the greatest fighters of all time. Some of the greatest fighters of all time. But also, people always talk about comparisons and like, well, if Ali is the greatest, then how can Floyd be the best ever, right? TBE. And all of this, and who's better, because they try to compare records and then they try to compare all these other things. And I'm like, man, they come from two different times. Okay. They have two different backgrounds. They have two different, lives. They're two different complex human beings. So comparing them is not going to be simple. But I did see a couple of things. I want to talk about skills and skill sets and also definitions. Now, first things first, let's talk about definitions. We're talking about fighting. Or are we? Are we talking about boxing or are we talking about fighting? Now, if you want to keep it super simple, let's keep it super simple. Let's keep it dumb. All right? If we're just talking about boxing, this conversation is already ending. Like, it's done. Floyd Mayweather is better at boxing than Muhammad Ali. And some people are going to get pissed off when I say that. Floyd Mayweather is better than Muhammad Ali at boxing. Now, I want you to understand why. Why do I say that? Well, think about it. What is boxing? Right? Boxing is a myriad of techniques used to defeat the opponent with just the front of your fists. Right? That's it. And to defeat them without, obviously you don't want to lose, but you want to be able to apply yourself and use your style or whatever style that you need to use to win. Floyd Mayweather can do any style. Like, I don't know if y'all realize that. Floyd Mayweather can kind of do any style. And I'm going to show you guys in some video, but, we'll get to that in a second. Now, Muhammad Ali, he has some habits. He has a way of fighting. He has a style. And we'll also go over that in terms of video and evidence. I can show you. I can show you that Muhammad Ali is a great fighter. But boxing, he didn't always do everything that he was supposed to do. Now, here's one thing that I want to present to you. Okay? I want you to tell me, in Muhammad Ali's career, how many body shots did you see him throw? I'll wait. You guys go ahead and start looking. Okay, you'll see maybe like 7. You can count the amount of body shots that he threw in his professional fights on 2 hands, probably. So tell me something now. How did Muhammad Ali beat all of these amazing heavyweights, all these amazing fighters, and not use body punch, something as simple as body shots? That's like half of your punch repertoire gone. Well, that's because he is the greatest of all time. Greatest fighter of all time. Fighting and boxing are different. Yes, you use the same principles, you use a lot of the same things, but boxing is techniques. Fighting is, you could say it's a lot of different things, but it has a lot to do with psychology and remembering the etymology of the word war. Where does war come from? Right? Where does war come from? The word war comes from an older word called wir, W-Y-R-R-E. I don't know if I have the um, war and wir. I'm going to try to pull this up for you guys. I don't know if I have the pronunciation right on this one. But where is my desktop? There it is. So, what is the origin of the word war? Let me see here. I want to make this so you guys can kind of see it too. Move this over a little bit. Where's my screen? There it is. Okay. Here we go. So, war derives from a few languages. Wir or wer means large-scale military conflict, blah, blah, blah. It used to mean dispute, hostility, blank, blank, blank. But now we get to the older ones. Old Saxon, Old High German, right? And it means to confuse or perplex, right? To confuse, mix up, to bring into confusion. War means confuse, to confuse someone. And you want to think about, like, what are the skills that are the most important in martial arts and in fighting? Well, number one is the resource. The number one resource is time. If I have time and I'm smart, I'll figure it out. So the more time I have, I mean, that's the best resource. You can never go back in time. You can't get more of it. You can't do anything like that. All I have to do is, if I occupy you by confusing you, then I have more time to figure you out. This is war. This is war. This is why Muhammad Ali is different. He's different from all these other fighters and the best ever, Floyd Mayweather, all that. He's different. He's not just boxing. Hey, look, you know what? You don't believe me? Let's watch this. This is Muhammad Ali sparring. All right, let's watch. You see him at zone 3 here, using his jab, his normal style. His hands are down. It's not typical for most boxers to just fight with your hands down like this. But remember, his range, he's zone 3 and 4, which is slightly out of range, right? And zone 3 is jab range. And as he closes in, you see he starts to get a little bit primed with his hands. Okay, now we see this is zone 2. Let's see what he does. Right, he starts playing zone 2. He does jab the body here. Look at that. He starts to play in zone 2 and jab the body a bit. Beautiful 1-2. And he stays in zone 3 here. And he feints forward. Now this person moved around the ring and has gone on from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen and gone in a circle, and Ali still hasn't thrown anything. He's literally feinted him all the way around. He still hasn't thrown anything. Oh, he jabbed him backwards. Okay, now what? Still following him, pushing him back without punching. Without punching, guys. I really want you to understand this, okay? He is backing this guy up without throwing punches. He's feinting. He's catching. He's pushing. He's touching. He'll jab every once in a while. Sure, he's through some, but he's not being violent. He's not being violent. He doesn't need to be violent. Now, okay, let's turn around and let's see Mayweather do some pretty cool stuff. You see, he's also moving forward, and he's countering. He's hitting him, but he's also like slipping, pulling, moving his head around. In this sequence, actually, my favorite is he does a walk forward and pull. You see, like, look right here, like he threw this hook and he steps forward with his left foot. He's stepping forward right now, but he still can pull and attack forward. Bang! Right? Again, he does it there. Right? Another pull counter while walking forward. Very important. There's a good stab to the body, right? Good jab to the body. Comes over with the right hand. That's a setup. And he walks forward with a Philly shell this time. Good. Feinting as well. But he does attack a little bit more. And he uses a lot more variety and techniques. You saw how he fought against off the ropes. He fought forward defensively somehow, right? He countered his way forward. Oh, here we go. Here it comes. You see that? You see the double feint into the body with the jab there? That double right there. Look at this. Bam, bam. Right? He's looking. I see a right hand. He came forward with the hook. He ended up in zone one instead and turns. I knew he was gonna come forward with something, and I knew he was gonna come forward on timing. Not necessarily what was there. I saw a right hand. He came forward with the left hook. Okay, cool. But he's gonna come forward with the right hand after. I can almost guarantee you, if he wants. We see hand controls on the inside. You see him sway backwards. He's got his hands up in the Philly shell. And he jabbed them backwards there to walk him out, walk himself off the ropes. Beautiful. Okay, staying forward, not backwards. Right. So, in these clips, what I'm trying to show you, what I'm really trying to show you, is I'm trying to show you that they both have the ability to go to the body and do all these different control techniques and do all this. So then, who is the better boxer? Well, they both can do the techniques. They both can do all these different techniques. Well, which one does what they need to do to win the boxing match? And I mean, we already kind of know the answer, but maybe I need to show you a little bit. First of all, let's see him be very successful with his techniques here. So he comes forward with George Foreman, or rather, he allows George Foreman to come forward to him and smother himself. Um, and this is where he's successful, right? And I want you to take note why this happened is because George Foreman does not actually want to fight at zone one. He actually fights at zone two to almost really three. So he's a little bit longer range than someone like Joe Frazier, who beat Muhammad Ali. We'll take a look at that in a second. But you look here and you see George Foreman is trying to control him with his arms and push him and get him at just the right area so he can just clobber him, hit him as hard as he can. You see, look, he's pulling his head in from the back of the head. He's pulling him into that zone one to where he's like, that's just not where you get your max power. And then he pushes him out. He pushes him out to, well, if he wants to go away, then go away. Ooh, beautiful hand controls, keeping his arms on top. Oh my goodness. Foreman trying to work on the inside because at this point, this is round 7. He's getting kind of tired of beating on his arms and missing and not getting what he wants. Uh-oh. Oh, we see a little hook straight on the way in. This is the third time that George Foreman just came forward in these interactions, right? Rule of 3. Hello. And you see that right hand clip him on the inside. A surprise, right? And he starts to jab a little bit. Oh, there's a right hand on the top. Now George Foreman's off position. Look at his eyes. Look at Muhammad Ali's eyes. He can see him. He's like, oh, I see. Now it's time to go to work. Now it's time to go to work. Beautiful combination. Beautiful combination. Put him out. Boom. Right here. He sees, he's like, I know you're still coming forward. Stab him with the right hand. He crashed out. Crashed out. All right. So that's how that fight ended up. You know, he lured him in to a trap. Smart man. But didn't quite work with this fight. This is Joe Frazier. And Joe Frazier fights in a way that you can't really do that. You can't really do that. Joe Frazier doesn't fight at zone 3. He doesn't fight at the jab range. There's a reason why. You know, Joe Frazier, his left arm, he couldn't even extend it all the way. He had an injury. Joe Frazier had an injury on his left arm to where he couldn't eat with a hog. He had a hog in his family. His family owned a hog, and he used to mess with it. He hit it with a stick, but he didn't know that the gate was open. So the hog chased him and pushed him around, I think, and he fell and hit his arm on a brick. And from then on, he was a young kid too. From then on, he could not straighten his arm all the way. So take that in mind. Now, Joe Frazier does not have a full-on jab. He doesn't really have a jab like that. He doesn't have a max range jab or a straightening arm. That's why his left hook is so dangerous, because he doesn't really worry about like extending his jab and then coming back for a hook. He's already got the hook ready. His arm is always bent. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. He doesn't fight at zone 3. He doesn't have a jab. He says, no, sir. We fight at zone 1 and 2, and I got my hook ready at all times. My hook is my jab. Now you see a little bit of head controls there as Ali comes off of the ropes. Beautiful. And then, you know, we'll see Joe Frazier continue to walk forward and not try to disengage and not do the normal thing. He tries to catch him with an uppercut, or at least what he feels is an uppercut. I think that's another thing, and I'll do a more deep dive on Ali and Frazier and why Ali lost, because of the three, Ali beat Frazier twice after this, and he beat George Foreman. He destroyed George Foreman, but George Foreman destroyed Frazier. He murdered Frazier. So we want to see like why fights. Yeah, but there's specific things in the style. Okay, and one of them is uppercuts. And Ali didn't really throw uppercuts like that. He threw like it's almost like the smash, to where it's like in between an uppercut and a hook. It's not quite a full on uppercut. Right? So because of that, he's not very effective at zone 2. He's not super effective. He's more, you know, he's really effective at if he was able to pull him into zone 1 on his terms, then okay. But Joe Frazier wants to be in zone 2 and zone 1, this close range right here. Right? So look, he's like, whatever. This is good. This is fine. I can throw off of this, right? Throw, and then go to the body. Boom, hard body shot. And they rinse and repeat this for much of the fight. See, he actually scores a knockdown on Muhammad Ali. See, he's missing these punches. He's not able to time him properly because he's just walking through everything. Mm, that was close. That was close. And I'm not sure where the knockdown was. I think it was here. Was it here? No, it wasn't. Anyway, we're not here for the knockdown. I'm just here to show you that Muhammad Ali struggled with this style and he lost this fight. This was his first loss. These are two undefeated champions. He didn't have that skill set to deal with that. Now, all right. Let's go to Floyd. So this is Floyd against somebody that likes to come forward, right? And he's successful. He's doing whatever he wants to do. Right? It looks a little familiar, right? Leading people into traps, right? He doesn't stay against the rope, so he doesn't try to plug them up because that long range it actually works for Corrales. So slightly different there. Oh, he puts a little high guard up there. He just looks at him. He's daring him to do something. All right, he sees that he didn't take the bait, so he goes ahead and jabs and starts to disengage. Okay, now there's a jab hook there. He misses, but he's always got that safeguard to control him. So he's got a lot of control over his opponent. This is how you know that he's being very successful. If he attacks and he messes up, he still has control of the fight. Oy. Let me put this in theater mode for you guys so you can see that again. Watch this section. That's a very simple. That's a very simple, case, right? Which is great. Like I said, he was successful in this one. But if you guys remember the Maidana fight, he was not super successful. He wasn't super successful in the first fight, and in the second fight, it was not. It wasn't an easy match. Neither of the fights were easy, but the first one was very, very close. And this one was a lot less close, but still a good fight. So let's see what Mayweather does when he's unsuccessful. He got caught there with the overhand. He was too static there. He got caught, and then Maidana stays forward. Doesn't look a little bit like Joe Frazier? A little bit like Joe Frazier, right? Staying at zone one, zone two. If anything, it's a little bit more awkward because he actually has a full jab, as you can see here. He comes over the top, trying to beat at his body. Another time he was caught. Now, I'm showing you this because, like I said, this was not an easy fight for him, but he did win convincingly. Counter right hand. Beautiful. Good. And look, he's getting control of the pace, control of the fight. He got pushed back to the ropes and he turns out and attacks. Does not just disengage. He doesn't just disengage. I know a lot of people are talking about Bivol and Beterbiev. There was a lot of times where Bivol did this and disengaged completely and ran away. He's like, no, no, no. Let's wait and we only fight on my terms. Which is, it can be good, but just not that much. Sometimes you need to disengage like Mayweather did and stay close to him, stay sticky so you can hit him. Those clean punches right there. Good job. Look who's in. He just immediately turns out to the middle of the ring. Look who's in control of this fight. All right, so we see he was struggling at first in this clip, just in this small clip. And we see an adjustment as he starts to turn him out, turn towards the outside a little bit more. He counter punches, and he starts to get control of the center of the ring by having his back in the center, even if he gets backed up. He's going to encourage him. He's like, all right, you want to come forward so much? Okay, come on forward. And then he turned him out, turned around, right? Do the outside turn. So, I mean, guys, it's very clear. It is very, very clear. If you're talking about better boxing, you got Mayweather ahead of pretty much everybody. He can do any style. We saw him fighting forward. You know that he can counterpunch. You saw him right here fighting backwards and being able to control the fight enough to win. We can mention so many other film studies. We have Miguel Cotto. We have him versus the South. Pacquiao, and the other one, Robert Garcia. Not Robert Garcia. A different name. Guerrero. Robert Guerrero, the Southpaw, fought him as well. With a different style. He used a lot of high guard against Southpaws. Let's not even get started on Emmanuel Augustus. Come on, man. Come on. You have to know every technique in the book to be Mayweather. You have to know every technique in the book and be able to do it and choose to do it. Now, Muhammad Ali, did he know every technique? Well, I'm sure he knew a good amount of them. And like I said, he knows how to body punch. He knows how to throw body shots, yet he does not. Why? Why does he not? Because he's choosing to fight in his certain method. He's choosing to bait. He's choosing to fight at certain ranges because he likes to do those things. But the thing is, with him not throwing body shots, that shows who's the greater fighter psychologically. Fighting has more to do with psychology than actual boxing. If you're a good fighter, you're probably good at other things like chess or fighting games or anything competitive, tennis, anything to where you have to deceive someone. You're good. And Mayweather is really good at fighting. He is. He's really good at fighting. He can deceive you. That's part of boxing. But above all else, Floyd Mayweather is the best boxer. Not necessarily fighter. Best boxer. I think Muhammad Ali was a better fighter outside of boxing, outside of techniques in the mind, what he could do. That's pretty much what I got. This is what I pulled from watching some film on both of them and trying to understand and tell you guys oh, this is something that's happening, right? I try to illustrate this in a way that you guys all understand and it kind of makes sense to you, but there's only so much I can do, You have to open your mind. You have to look at these things and stop judging if something's good or bad, right? Don't judge if it's good or bad, because if you do that, then you can't actually figure it out. You're not going to figure out the why behind someone's actions. You're sitting there judging too much, right? So if you want to be a good analyst and be able to film study something and understand the why, then you need to take the judgment out of it and just look at something that is simply happening. This is happening. This is something that's happening. Okay. That's what you want to do. Is oh, this is something that is happening. Okay. And that way you can pay attention and take notes and memorize things better. All right. So, anyway, I showed you guys their training I showed you guys their fights in similar circumstance where they both are successful against their opponents, and then I showed you when they both had struggles against their opponents. But we saw the difference. The margin of difference was Floyd Mayweather's adaptability and his technique. And what I mean by technique is a variety of technique and decision to use them. And I showed you that Ali also has a variety of techniques, and he has a decision that he made. He decided not to use all of them on purpose because he's doing something else. He's fighting the mind war more so than the physical war. So I hope that kind of helps people understand the difference between Mayweather and Muhammad Ali and why they're both amazing and great. And yeah, you know, one's definitely better at boxing and one's definitely better at fighting. And that's all you can really say. So anyway, join my school community. It's free. You guys will see more film studies and more in-depth stuff similar to this, maybe even more direct. We'll talk about the rule of three. We'll talk about the animal styles that I have. That's my next big project. I have 2 small projects coming up right now, but my next big project is breaking down the animal styles. I think I have 9 of them. Talked about one of them today, the lone wolf. Oof, that's a good one. So that's one of my favorites. Anyway, hope you guys have a great time, and yeah, happy training.